Which salt it will form? If it is hydrochloric acid, it will form chloride salt. If it is nitric acid, it will form nitrate salt. If it is sulfuric acid, it will form sulfate salt. And if it is phosphoric acid, it will form phosphate salt. So these are the salts which are formed by these acids. If it's a hydrochloric acid, this will result in a chloride salt. If it is nitric acid, result in a formation of nitrate salt. Sulfuric acid, sulfate salt. And phosphoric acid, this will give phosphate salt. So we were just completing a word equation in the last session. So example, if we have magnesium plus nitric acid, what will be the complete equation? Metal plus acid, it will give salt and hydrogen. Which salt it will form if it's a nitric acid? So because it's a nitric acid, so it will form a nitrate salt, and hydrogen is also there. Why hydrogen is there? Because it's a metal plus acid. So metal plus acid result in formation of nitrate salt and hydrogen. If it's a nitric acid, then nitrate salt. Is it clear how we complete a word equation? That's the first thing. Then we'll move on to symbolic equation. Take the screenshot. I will move on to next part. So example, as we are discussing the first reaction, when metal is reacting with acid, this will result in a formation of salt plus hydrogen. How to identify whether it's a metal? So what you have to do, you have to check the group. If the element here is belonging to group 1, group 2, or group 3, then it is a metal. An acid, how to identify acid? The substance which contain hydrogen, like example H2SO4, HCl, HNO3, these all are acids. So when acid reacted with metal or metal is reacting with acid, this will result in a formation of salt and hydrogen. Now, first we discuss how to complete a word equation. Now, after a word equation, we have to complete symbolic equation. For symbolic equation, it should be balanced as well, but first thing we start with writing a complete equation, and then the second part is balancing. So example, if I say sodium which is Na, plus hydrochloric acid. What is the formula of hydrochloric acid? It is HCl. It's better you should know these formulas: hydrochloric acid HCl, sulfuric acid H2SO4, nitric acid HNO3. So example, sodium is reacting with hydrochloric acid. It's very simple to complete a product. What happened? The metal will displace the hydrogen. So metal will displace the hydrogen of acid. So first it was hydrochloric acid HCl. So metal will displace this hydrogen. So when the metal will displace this hydrogen, means the sodium will come with chloride, or sodium will form a bond with chloride. What will be the formula when sodium and chlorine form a compound? So you have to work out the valencies. Sodium belongs to group 1, so valency is +1. Chlorine belongs to group 7, so valency is -1. You have to recall this same idea, how to write a chemical formula according to the group number. If it's group 1, you can use a periodic table, will be there in exam. Group 2, group 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So group 1 is +1, +2, +3, -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. So as you know, sodium is a metal. It reacted with acid. So when metal is reacting with acid, the result is a formation of salt and hydrogen. If it's a hydrochloric acid, chloride salt will be there. So what will be the formula of a salt? Sodium belongs to group 1, so it's +1. Chlorine belongs to group 7, it's -1. So we cross multiply their valencies. The formula for the salt will be NaCl plus hydrogen. What is the formula for hydrogen? Non-metal exists as a molecule, so hydrogen element exists as H2. So this is the first thing. This is the first thing you have to complete a equation. This question is always of 2 marks. Why it's of 2 marks? One is for completing the equation, and the second mark is for balancing the equation. So first we complete this equation. How we complete? As the metal is reacting with acid, this will result in a formation of salt and hydrogen. That's one thing. Now balancing the equation is the second part. For balancing, what should be your order? If you want to balance the equation, you should start with oxygen, followed by hydrogen, and then you will balance other element. So start with oxygen, followed by hydrogen, and at the last other element. So first I will start with oxygen, but I don't see oxygen here in this whole equation. There is no oxygen. Then followed by hydrogen. Second element which I will try to balance in my equation is hydrogen. How many hydrogen on my left hand side? So on the left hand side, I have 1 hydrogen. How many hydrogen on my right hand side? So on the right hand side, I have 2 hydrogen. So what I will do, whenever you are balancing, you can only write the number before element or compound. You cannot write the number down. Always you can write as a coefficient, but you cannot write as a suffix or prefix. You cannot write as a superscript or subscript for this. So if 2 hydrogen are on the right hand side, I need 2 hydrogen on the left hand side, so I put 2. So when I put 2, hydrogen is balanced. Is it clear? The first thing, we balance hydrogen. Then if I want to balance any other element, I can take any order now. It does not make difference. How many chloride are there on the left hand side? So how many chloride are there? 2 chloride on the left hand side. So I will put, and how many chloride on the right hand side? Only 1. So what we will do, we will put 2 here. So chloride is also balanced. So hydrogen is balanced, chloride is balanced. What about sodium? How many sodium on the right hand side? 2. And how many sodium on the left hand side? 1. So that's why I will put 2 here as well. So this equation is balanced in terms of hydrogen, in terms of sodium, and in terms of chlorine. So first thing for symbolic equation is completing a product. The second thing is balancing an equation. I'll give another example. Take the screenshot of this, or you can copy from the video recording. We are still discussing the first reaction when a metal is reacting with acid. This is giving salt plus hydrogen. And you are completing a symbolic equation. So if I say calcium plus hydrochloric acid, HCl. So when metal is reacting with acid, the metal will displace hydrogen. So metal will take position of hydrogen. So means there will be a compound which contain calcium and chlorine. But the important thing is knowing the formula. What will be the formula of a compound which contain calcium and chlorine? The calcium chloride will be the product. But what will be the formula of calcium chloride? So you have to work out the valencies. Calcium belongs to group 2. You can use a periodic table for this. So calcium belongs to group 2, so it's +2. Chlorine belongs to group 7, so it is -1. When two valencies are not same, you simplify the valencies. When they're not same, you cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, the formula for calcium chloride will be CaCl2 plus hydrogen is there as a gas, so hydrogen gas will be H2. So you will score 1 mark when you complete a product. The second thing is balancing this equation. And for balancing, what could be the order? For balancing, we start with oxygen, followed by hydrogen, and at the last, other elements. Any other order you can select for element. So we start with oxygen, but we don't find any oxygen in this reaction. Followed by hydrogen. How many hydrogen on my right hand side?
2.
So 2 hydrogen on the right hand side. How many hydrogen atoms on the left hand side?
1.
1. So what I will do, I want to balance hydrogen, so I put 2 here so that hydrogen is balanced. Is it clear? Balancing of hydrogen. Then when you check chloride, how many chloride atoms, chlorine atoms are there? 2 on the right hand side. How many are there on the left? This, because this 2 is with hydrogen also, and this 2 is with chlorine as well. So means 2 chloride on the left, 2 chloride on the right. So chlorine is, this is also balanced. And what about calcium? Calcium is 1 on the left hand side and calcium is 1 on the right hand side. So calcium is also balanced. So you just try to balance hydrogen first, and you can see here this equation is balanced in terms of all other elements. So we try to balance with oxygen followed by hydrogen, and at the last any other order or elements in different order. So in this question, you have to first complete the equation, and then the second thing is balancing the equation. Another example. So if I say calcium plus sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So calcium plus sulfuric acid, what happened? Again, the metal will take position of hydrogen. So calcium will displace this hydrogen. But writing a product, because metal react with acid, this will result in a formation of salt and water, hydrogen. So calcium with sulfate. So what is the formula of a compound which contain calcium and sulfate? So calcium is +2 or 2 plus. Yeah, that's right. Calcium sulfate is CaSO4 and sulfate is SO4 with a charge valency -2. That we discussed the charges on the molecular ions. So when two valencies are same, you simplify the valency. It's 1 and 1. And when you cross multiply, it will be same. So it is, the formula is CaSO4 for calcium sulfate plus hydrogen. Hydrogen is a gas. So it's H2. Now for balance, this is the completing the equation. The second thing is balancing the equation. So how to balance? You start with oxygen followed by hydrogen and at the last other elements. How many oxygen on the right hand side? So 4 oxygen on the right hand side. And how many oxygen on the left hand side? That's also 4. So you have oxygen is balanced. So oxygen is balanced. What about hydrogen? 2 hydrogen on the left and 2 hydrogen on the right. So hydrogen is also balanced. Then other element, you can take sulfur. 1 sulfur here and 1 sulfur. So sulfur is balanced. And calcium is also 1. That's also balanced. So this equation is actually balanced in terms of, so equation is already balanced in terms of hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur and calcium. So sum of the equation, when you complete, you will find that the equation is balanced. Another example. Take this screenshot for this part. Still, it's the same when a metal is reacting with acid. It gives salt plus hydrogen. Example, we have magnesium plus nitric acid, which is HNO3. So the metal will displace this hydrogen. Metal will take position of hydrogen. What will be the product when magnesium displaces this hydrogen? So it's magnesium nitrate. So you have to work out the formula for compound which contain magnesium and nitrate. So magnesium is group 2, that's why it's +2, and nitrate is -1. When two valencies are not same, cross multiply. So formula for magnesium nitrate, it is MgNO3 bracket 2. Plus hydrogen will be there as a gas. So first thing what we did, we complete a product. And if I say write the state symbols, how to write the state symbol? What will be the state of magnesium metal? It will be solid, so we write S. What is the state of nitric acid? It's aqueous, AQ. Magnesium nitrate, soluble or insoluble? All nitrates are soluble. So what will be the state? Again, it will be aqueous. And the last one, hydrogen, is a gas. So this is a symbolic equation we completed, but this is not balanced. We have to balance this. So if in exam, if this equation of 3 marks, so what is the distribution of the marks? 1 mark is for completing the equation. 1 mark is for balancing the equation. And 1 mark is for writing the state symbols. Now balancing this equation, we balance oxygen followed by hydrogen, and at the last any other element we can follow. How many oxygen are there? How many oxygen on the right hand side? So total 6. How? Because 3 multiplied by bracket 2 is there, so 3 2s are 6. So if we have 6 oxygen on the right hand side, we should have 6 oxygen on the left hand side. So which number I should put here? So I will get 6 oxygen. So I will put 2 here. So when I put 2, oxygen is balanced. So this equation is balanced in terms of oxygen. Then when you try to balance hydrogen, you have 2 hydrogen on the right and you have 2 hydrogen on the left. So hydrogen is also balanced. Nitrogen is also balanced and magnesium is also balanced. So you can see here, we just started with oxygen and we balance oxygen. The moment we balance oxygen, the whole equation is balanced. Is it clear? Now, from symbolic equation, we can also write another equation. We call that as Ionic equation. How to, sorry. In Ionic equation, we cancel the common ions in aqueous solutions which are also known as spectator ions. So, and for ionic equation, you should know the state symbol. So to write an ionic equation, you should have a balanced symbolic equation with the state symbols. How to write an ionic equation? It's very simple. What we do in ionic equation, we cancel the common ion in aqueous solution. First thing, what are the things which are aqueous? If I want to write the ionic equation, first I should have a balanced symbolic equation. So I'm using this previous example as we already balanced. So magnesium plus nitric acid giving magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen. And the state symbols were, this was solid, aqueous, aqueous, gas. So first what we do, we check the substance which is aqueous here. Which substance is aqueous? Nitric acid, HNO3 and magnesium nitrate both are aqueous. That's the first thing, we highlight them. Then we cancel out the common ion in aqueous substance. Which ion is common in aqueous substance? Like which ion is present in both aqueous substances in the reactant and product? So nitrate ion is common. Nitrate ion is present in both, so we cancel out nitrate ion. So we cancel the common ion and we also call that as a spectator ion. So when we cancel the common ion in aqueous, now what we are left with is called ionic equation. So what we are left with? We are left with magnesium, which is solid, plus nitrate is cancelled out. So I'm left with hydrogen ions, which are in aqueous. Then in magnesium nitrate, nitrate is cancelled out. So I'm left with magnesium ions in aqueous and hydrogen is a gas. So this equation is known as ionic equation. The previous equation, this equation was symbolic equation. So for writing an ionic equation, you should have a symbolic equation. Why nitrate cancel out? Because it is common. It does not change. Before the reaction, it was aqueous, and after the reaction, it is also aqueous. That is why we cancel out nitrate ion. So ion which does not change at all. For magnesium, why we did not cancel magnesium? Because first magnesium was solid, then magnesium become aqueous. Or hydrogen was aqueous, then become gas. So there is a change in state for hydrogen and magnesium, but there is no change in state for nitrate. So if it remains same or does not change, it remains as aqueous. That is why we cancel out the nitrate ion. So this is how we write an ionic equation for us from a symbolic equation. Copy this. I will give another example. Take the screenshot. So if I say you have to complete the equation, word equation, and write symbolic as well as ionic equation. Complete the word equation and write symbolic and ionic equation. And we are still in the first reaction of acid, which is metal plus acid. The reason why I'm taking more time for this topic specifically, because other reactions are similar. So if you understand this one, then I don't have to explain the other parts in detail. We'll do more just examples, few examples for other parts. So metal plus acid, this will result in a formation of salt plus hydrogen. So if I say write a word equation, complete a word equation. So if it was, say, calcium plus nitric acid, what will be the product? Calcium plus nitric acid. So this will result in a formation of calcium nitrate plus hydrogen. Then this is a word equation. Then we have to write a symbolic equation. Symbol for calcium, it's a metal Ca. Symbol for nitric acid, it is HNO3. So calcium is more reactive, it will displace this hydrogen. This will result in a formation of calcium nitrate. But again, you have to work out the formula first. Directly, you don't write CaNO3, but you have to work out the formula. Yeah, that's right. Calcium nitrate is CaNO3 bracket 2. Why it is CaNO3 bracket 2? Because calcium is group 2, so it's plus 2. And nitrate is minus 1. So when you cross multiply, it will be CaNO3 in a bracket 2. So we complete this equation, but symbolic equation must be balanced. So for balancing, we start with oxygen followed by hydrogen and then other element. How many oxygen on the right hand side? 3 multiplied by 2, that's 6. So we need 6 oxygen on the left hand side as well. Yeah, so what we'll do, we'll put 2 here. So when I put 2, oxygen is balanced, hydrogen is also balanced because 2, nitrogen is also balanced, and calcium is balanced. So this equation is balanced in terms of, but for writing an ionic equation, you should know the state symbols. What will be the state for calcium? Solid. What is the state of nitric acid? Aqueous. What is the state of nitrate, calcium nitrate? All nitrates are aqueous, so aqueous. And what is the state of hydrogen? So it will be a gas. Is it clear till now that we complete the symbolic equation with a state symbol and we balance as well? To write an ionic equation, you have to use a symbolic equation, a balanced symbolic equation. So I will write this equation again. So we have this solid, aqueous gas. So highlight the substance which is aqueous. And cancel the common ions. So nitrate ions are common, so we cancel out. As nitrate, we cancel out. What we are left with, that's called ionic equation. So we are left with calcium, which is solid. We are left with 2 hydrogen ions, and we are left with 1 calcium ion, and we are left with hydrogen as a gas. So this is known as ionic equation for this reaction. Yes, that's correct, Afif. Is it clear? So metal plus acid gives salt and hydrogen. The first thing is the writing the equation. Second is what is the observation, and the third is how we can obtain a salt. Take the screenshot of this. Less than a minute left, so I'll share another link with you after this.